in Devil's Den State Park in Washington County on Saturday afternoon. The manhunt since then has been non-stop. Clues, details dribbled out about what he may look like, and then yesterday a picture of a man in dark clothing with a hat with his back to the camera shown as a way to try and flush out this suspect now. And so we now await the start of this news conference. We're going to take that coverage now. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders speaking in Lowell, Arkansas.
This evening, we are here in Northwest Arkansas, a community that has been absolutely heartbroken over the course of the almost last week. Our entire state is grieving for the tragic loss and senseless and horrific crime that's taken place in this area. One of the worst experiences that certainly I've ever had was making a phone call to the Brink family earlier this week. Nothing like that should ever take place. And for a family to have to go through and deal with that level of tragedy is something that no one should ever experience, and something that we never want to take place in our state. And while that was one of the worst moments, certainly one of the moments where we're the most grateful is for the absolute tireless and heroic efforts of our law enforcement and the collaborative effort from every single level, from our city, our county, our state parks, our federal partners who have worked together to bring this person to justice. And I'm so thankful for their courageous and tireless efforts that they've put forth over the course of the last several days. And I cannot thank them enough for the way that they put themselves on the line, not just over this week, but every single day, and the way that they represent our state. I want to be clear that if you commit a violent, senseless act here in our state, our law enforcement will hunt you down and bring you to justice, because that's what the people of Arkansas frankly deserve. That's what they've asked for, and that's what this team has been able to deliver this week, and we're very grateful for their work. I want to finish by saying that I ask all Arkansans to join me in lifting the Brink family and their two precious daughters up in prayer, and to continue after these next few days to continue to pray for them, because it's a long road ahead and the grieving process has just begun. And I hope that our entire state will wrap their arms around this family and comfort them in a way that no other place can other than Arkansas. Thank you again for all of the efforts of those who are standing here with me tonight. And with that, I'll turn it over to Colonel Mike Hager, the head of State Police.
Thank you, Governor, and good evening. Before I start with the prepared remarks, I have to say it's the greatest of honors to stand here and represent a lot of people that are not standing at this podium. They're not in front of your cameras. We have a building full of criminal investigators from state police, local agencies, federal partners that are unshaven. They looked unkempt. They've not slept in days. They've barely taken time to eat. I cannot express the gratitude I have for the men and women that have made this possible. Arkansas State Police Special Agents have arrested James Andrew McGann, 28, of Springdale. He's been charged with 2 counts of capital murder in the deaths of Clinton David Brink and Kristen Amanda Brink. Clinton and Kristen were killed on Saturday, July 26, 2025, at Devil's Den State Park. The suspect was taken into custody this evening at 4:57 p.m. at a business in the Springdale area. I'm extremely grateful for the long hours and dedication that our agents put forward in bringing justice to this family. The collaboration between state police and other local law enforcement agencies, our federal partners, has been second to none. I also want to thank our media partners for helping us distribute important information during these past few days. Because of their hard work and investigative skill, we were able to take a monster off the streets and bring relief to Clinton and Kristen's precious girls. And to the rest of citizens of Arkansas. I'm going to turn it over now to Secretary Shay Lewis, the Secretary of Parks.
Good evening. My name is Shay Lewis, Secretary of the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism, and Director of Arkansas State Parks. Our hearts are with the Brink family tonight, and as they navigate this unimaginable tragedy. We're deeply grateful, and on behalf of the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism, would like to thank the work and the men and women of the Arkansas State Police for their swift and tireless work to protect Arkansans and pursue justice for the victims and their loved ones. I would also like to extend my sincere thanks to the many partners who supported Arkansas State Parks during this time, especially the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, the local law enforcement agencies, all that provided additional law enforcement coverage within our state park system. I'm especially thankful for the dedicated response of our Arkansas State Park staff, including our park rangers and many others who worked with professionalism, compassion, urgency in the face of this very difficult situation. As always, the safety of our guests and staff will continue to be a top priority for Arkansas State Parks. At this time, I'll turn it back over to Governor Sanders for any questions that may be available tonight.
Thank you. We'll take a couple questions if you guys have them.
Before we ask you about the details of this person arrested accused of this, do you know when this news was delivered to the victim's family members?
Yeah, I'm going to allow and ask some of the law enforcement who have been leading these efforts to step up and answer some of those specific questions.
So the question was, were they notified or when?
They were notified. This had to be big news.
Yes, they were notified just after we made the arrest. They were actually one of the first people that we went to notify. And as you can imagine, it opened up a whole different set of emotions for the Brink family. I'm sure that it was with a sense of relief, but also with a whole new emotion that they're going to have to deal with.
And then, of course, we'll ask what led to this and talk about the person arrested, what you can say.
So while an arrest has been made, we are refraining from releasing much of the information that led to that arrest. We still have a lot of work to do in terms of, securing a conviction, because that's our next big focus right now. But we will release some details as they become available that we think are pertinent. The community deserves to know what happened and what led to that arrest, and we'll be happy to share that when the time is right.
Can you confirm, we've seen video of an arrest made at this Peter's Beauty Shop in Springdale. Can we confirm that that's where he was taken into custody today?
Yes,
So that was him.
yes.
Do we have any sense of a motive, or do we feel this was random at this time?
We're not going to talk about his motive right now. We're still exploring and determining exactly what that motive was. So it'd be a little premature for us to speak on that tonight.
Anything on this gentleman's background here locally? We're getting word he might have been a youth teacher in the area. Is there anything of that sort that you can confirm for us tonight?
So what I'll say is he just recently moved here and had gotten a job to work at a local school here.
Do you know where he moved from?
I believe it was Oklahoma.
From Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Are you able to share where he was arrested specifically?
It was the barber shop that this gentleman just mentioned.
Did the public play a role in this arrest, or I'm just wondering how this happened? Do you have investigators and the word out there? How did we get to here?
So I will say that the public was instrumental. When we pushed out the initial information, we were asking for any video. A lot of the video footage that we received was instrumental in helping us identify this particular subject.
A lot of that was looking for a description of a vehicle. We know the description of a vehicle was seized, is being processed as evidence. The description seems to match up with what you recovered.
That's correct, yes, sir.
Can you talk about the calls, the tips? State police had to be flooded with calls and how difficult it is to sort through those and vet through those and really get to the core of this investigation.
The tips were, I will say, overwhelming. Once we set up a tip line, we were able to manage those quite well. But when we have to have that public assistance, and when we opened up that tip line, we were able to see what the public was interested in helping us, and it was overwhelming. We were getting them from Washington State, we were getting them from Illinois. They were coming in across the country, so they were instrumental.
When we think about what's going to happen next at Devil's Den, is there any sort of worry or concern that we might see a repeat, or we might see a decrease in the amount of people wanting to go to state parks at this point?
Do you want to answer that?
I don't know if we have a true indication of what the impact will be. I know it has greatly impacted this family with their loss, and as we kind of look forward to kind of navigate through this process and look at reopening trails and reopening other parts of the park, we're going to just kind of take our time in that. Right now, they're going to remain closed. I want to make sure that the Brink family has time to grieve, go through this process, time for our staff to assess the situation, and then we'll reopen it at the appropriate time.
Take maybe one or two last questions.
We've asked for information, the overall assessment, could that include possible changes, parks, maybe surveillance cameras and stuff? It's sad that we need those, but some things that we've been asking about.
Sure. Even over the last few years, we are constantly in a process of evaluating needs at our parks for safety and security, looking at technology as a tool, making sure our staff, our park rangers, our law enforcement officers are equipped with the tools and the training to be responsive to emergencies.
Let this be the last one here.
It's been, a 5-day ordeal, and information has been pretty scarce. Can you talk to us a little bit about kind of the strategy behind that and why information was kind of hard to, or why you didn't want to share as part of the investigation?
Sometimes when we share information, it actually creates a lot of running down trails that we don't want to go down. It actually hinders the investigation. As some of y'all are likely aware, there was a podcast that really, what we feel hurt the investigation. The interviews that were done were spreading information that we were using to help locate, because the last thing we wanted to do was for him to be alerted that we were onto him, so to speak. And so that we try to give information that's going to help us identify this person, but we don't want to give anything that we don't want them to go underground. We don't want them to go into hiding. And so that's why we were very deliberate with the information and really on the timing that it was delivered. So that was kind of the strategy.
Thank you.
I'll just close out again by saying a big thank you to the men and women of our law enforcement, again, across every level, individuals who have stepped up and offered tips and information to our state parks team and their staff for everybody's collaborative effort over the course of the last several days. And again, we ask that every Arkansan remember this family and lift them up in prayer and offer condolences and comfort to them in any way that you can. So thank y'all again, and again, appreciate our law enforcement and prayers for all of Arkansas. Thank y'all.
All right, back here in Little Rock, Rolly Hoyt with you here on THV 11 Plus. You just heard from Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, joining with other law enforcement from state police and the state parks, announcing the arrest of a suspect in the Devil's Den hiking trail double murder on Saturday. The man's name, 28-year-old James Andrew McGann of Springdale, arrested at a barber shop in that area of Northwest Arkansas earlier this afternoon, just before 5 o'clock, according to what the law enforcement folks tell us at that news conference. Apparently, new to the area, slated to start a job at a local school in the region, had come here from Oklahoma. A bit of irony there that the victims in this case, Clinton and Kristen Brink, both new to the area as well, with Clinton Brink set to start a job this week with a dairy in that area before his death on that hiking trail on Saturday. We learned some details about the arrest. We learned some details, as you just heard there, about his life and what put him there in the state park, allegedly. But we still don't know why he might have done this. No word on any details of how the crime was carried out. We did hear that the family, the children who were apparently witnesses to this or survivors of the attack, are being taken care of by family. They've been in their custody since this took place over the weekend, and that there has been an outpouring of support from across the entire country as this manhunt to find this suspect has gone on. We are going to distill all of these facts and details that we just got here, have them ready to go in about 13 minutes when we rejoin you on THV 11 Plus and on the air on THV 11. You be sure to join us for that. For now, we'll send you back to programming, and we'll see you in a little while.